On this edition of Suffolk Scrapbook, we will be visiting the home of Mills Riddick, better known as Riddick's Folly. Coming up, we will be touring this grand home. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Today we are joined by Riddick's Folly's director, Lee King. Lee, thanks for having us today.
Glad you could stop by.
Would you like to show us around?
Sure, let's go into the front parlor.
Okay. So Lee, why Riddick's Folly? Why such an interesting name?
It's because of the size and architecture of the building. It's 4 floors, 21 rooms, and 16 fireplaces. And it's almost 8,000 square feet.
Wow. And what room would this have been used for?
Where we're standing now is in the archway of the front parlor. You can see the back parlor in the background. This is Mills and Mary Taylor Riddick over here to your right. They built the home in 1837.
And what exactly would this room have been used for?
Well, they would have used the front parlor for entertaining their guests.
Okay.
And it does have 14-foot ceilings on this floor.
Wow. Now, I noticed this piece of artwork on the front wall. Can you tell us about it?
Yes, this is a schoolgirl needlework done by Missouri Ann Jones Kilby. Later on, she married Nathaniel Riddick. But what's unusual about this particular one is it was taken by a Union soldier, and we were able to purchase it back from a lady in Canandaigua, New York. This is the back parlor. This would have been the family part of the house. They would use this like we would a family room or den today. But you'll notice that from the front parlor to the back, all of the window treatments and the colors are identical. They would have done that so if they had a large group of people they were entertaining, they could open both parlors.
Now, this is an interesting piece of artwork. Can you tell me about this?
Yes, this is actually a great piece. It's KPM porcelain, made in 1850, and this actually came from the Mr. Obesey estate.
It's very beautiful.
It is. It's a great piece.
Mr. King, what room are we in now?
We're standing in the gentleman's library. And over to the right here, we see Nathaniel Riddick. He was in control of the home during the Civil War time period when General Peck took this over as his headquarters in 1862 and 63.
And what would Mr. Riddick have used this room for?
Well, he would have met some clients in this room, but he was also, after dinner, the gentlemen would have come into this room and had their after-dinner brandies, cigars, and behind us we do have the ladies' parlor that was strictly for the ladies.
Okay. What's next?
We'll go upstairs and see the master bedroom.
Okay.
We're now entering the master bedroom.
So how many bedrooms were there?
Between 1839 and 1844, there were 12 bedrooms in the house.
Wow. And anything important about this bed?
Yes, this is a great piece. This was made by James Woodward in Norfolk in 1820. All 14 Riddick children were born in this bed.
Wow. And what about this portrait?
That was another piece we were able to find that was taken by a Union soldier that was found in Brimfield, Massachusetts. It's another portrait of Mary Taylor Riddick with her first grandson.
Very interesting. So what room are we heading to next?
We'll go into the room just down the hall that's completely dedicated to the Riddick family.
Okay.
Kevin, let me show you some very interesting items. All of the pieces in this room belong to the Riddick family. The 3 dresses that you're seeing here all belong to Anna Mary Riddick. The one in the center is blue India silk with gold thread and actually has a 14-inch waist.
Wow. And tell me about this dress in this case here.
The black one in the inside of the case is too fragile to put on a mannequin, but Anna Mary Riddick, which was a granddaughter to Mr. and Mrs. Riddick, she lost her fiance to the Civil War, and she wore this dress for about 25 years in mourning for Johnny.
Wow.
Another great item here, this was Missouri Riddick that did the needlework downstairs. This was her 1840 maternity dress.
Now, who did the quilts on display?
Well, the one next to the dress, Anna Mary Riddick, her oldest daughter, made this one. It's called a postage stamp quilt, and you can see scraps from the maternity dress.
Now, I understand that the Riddicks had many children. Where did they stay?
All of the children stayed on the top floor. We had 6 bedrooms on that floor. Let's go to one of the children's rooms.
Sounds good.
Kevin, we're now on the 4th floor in one of the children's rooms.
And why are there so many beds in one room?
Well, what I was trying to show here is that more than one age group would sleep in a room. In the crib here beside me would have been 1 to 3 years old, 3 to 6 years old in the youth bed, and 6 to 12 years old in the 3/4 bed.
So they would have a lot of children in one
In
room.
one room.
Very interesting. Very different from today.
Yes.
Right? What's next?
We'll go into one of the Civil War rooms.
Now this is a different room.
Yes, this is the only room in the building that has its original plaster, and we have put the plastic over this to protect the writings and all that we have left. We do have signatures and different writings left by Union soldiers during the Union occupation.
And I guess you can still read some of them.
Oh yes, the best one we have over here is Henry Van Wyck, Company I, 3rd New York Cavalry.
Now I couldn't help but notice the stain on the floor.
Yes, that's actually a blood stain. We have had that tested. The police department tested that for us to determine that it was blood. We're just not sure who it belonged to.
So you're not sure if it was a soldier or one of the family members?
No, we're really not sure.
It's a mystery.
Yes.
Now speaking of the Civil War, I understand that there is a room dedicated to Civil War artifacts here.
Yes, let's go into that now. Kevin, about 80% of the items in this room were given to us by one gentleman, Dr. May, from a collection that his father had collected.
Well, that was very kind of him. Now, I understand that there is a ring here on display and with a unique story behind it.
Yes, you remember we talked about Anna Mary and the black dress that she wore in Mourning of Johnny. Well, this is Johnny, her fiancé. You can see a letter and flowers that Anna Mary gave him the day he left for the Civil War. Unfortunately, he was killed at Malvern Hill, and 10 years after the war, his body was exhumed, and we have a remnant, which is part of that ring that you mentioned. If you look closely, you can see that it has a gold escutcheon on top of the ring. That was actually a gold tooth that they removed from Johnny, and the brown part is his woven hair on the band, and they gave the ring to Anna Mary.
Wow, what an interesting story.
It is.
Now this room isn't in keeping with the rest of the house.
No, we have 2 rooms in honor of Governor Godwin, our former governor from Suffolk. Governor Godwin and Mrs. Godwin were instrumental in raising money to restore Riddick's Folly. This is a portrait of Mills E. Godwin Jr. It was done by Ed Hatch in 1994 in Richmond. And the entire room is filled with artifacts from his 2 terms in office. Kevin, we're now coming into the full English basement where the family would have had their dining room, laundry room, kitchen, and what today we have a gift shop.
Okay, lead the way.
Kevin, we're now in the formal dining room.
Now, was it typical for the family to have the dining room in the basement?
It would if you had a full English basement, which is what this is, and they would have had it here. It was closer to the kitchen, plus it was a little cooler on this floor.
Okay, and can we see the kitchen?
Sure. Kevin, we're now entering the winter kitchen. Mr. Riddick put 2 kitchens in the building, actually one inside of the building, the winter one, to keep the heat in the building. He had a summer kitchen separate from the home to help protect from fires, but not bring that heat into the building during the summer months.
Okay, and how would a typical meal be prepared in a winter kitchen?
Well, you can see our fireplace over here, and we have no evidence that we ever had brick ovens in the building, so we do have an 1820 roasting oven.
Okay, and I know they had dirty dishes. How would they wash the dishes?
Well, here we have the dry sink. They would have pumped water, brought the water in, and just put the water into the pan to wash the dishes.
Okay. Now, how did the Riddicks do their laundry?
Well, across the hall, we actually have a separate room dedicated just for doing the laundry.
Okay, I'd love to see that.
Sure. Kevin, this is where they would have washed all of their linens and clothes for the many people that were staying in the home.
Now, to notice there's no plumbing or spigots. How did they get their water here?
Mr. Riddick actually had something that was ahead of the time for Suffolk. We're uncovering the brick water cistern outside where the servants would actually have running water into the laundry.
Well, I understand there's one more room you'd like to show us.
Sure, let's step into the gift shop.
Okay.
Kevin, you can see here we've got a rack for the American Girl program.
Now, I understand that you do American Girl events?
Yes, we have brought that back. We've been doing that now for this year, and we plan on continuing to do the American Girl program. They're really a big success.
Well, good. What else do you have?
Well, you can see that we have consignment items that deal with collectibles and antiques. We have lots of Planters peanut items. We have Civil War items, Native American. We try to have things that you don't find in the typical department store.
And it appeals to everyone.
Yes.
Well, Lee, it appears that we are out of time today. I'd like to thank you for letting us tour Riddick's Folly. If the public would like to visit, how can they get in touch with the museum?
Well, they can call us at 934-0822, or they can email us at rfcurator@verizon.net.
And what are your hours?
We're open Wednesday through Friday, 10 to 5, Saturday, 10 to 4, and Sunday, 1 to 5.
Okay.
Glad you could come in.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us on this edition of Suffolk Scrapbook. We'll see you next time.